your job on the line for us.
I ain't even tell my boss I was leaving. This might be my last day.
Wayne, where are we at?
We're going.
Nobody.
Going?
Yeah.
So we're live? Okay. We are live.
I'm all set. We're ready.
We're ready to go.
Yes, we are.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
time to call us to some sort of order.
Meeting to order roll call.
Hold on. Mike, is
It's my thing on.
Oh.
It's not. I thought it was on.
Oh, Lord.
Roll call, please.
If you don't mind, Madam Chair, I'll take a roll call. Renata Seals,
Present.
Stephen Grady Muhammad,
Present.
Barbara Rogal Miller, needs an excuse. So we've talked to her, but she's excused. Hubert Massey, Maria Lambert, Tanya Jenkins, Lolita Haley, Tim Colleen. I'm here. Chair Mizuraka.
Present.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
We need approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we're going on to approval of the March 25th meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
And I support that motion.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against it? Approval of the minutes carries. Report from the chair. I don't have any report. E, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? If there's no unfinished business, we're going to move on to new business. Any new business?
Yeah, number one, Madam Chair. Under new business, there's 4 items.
Okay,
Right there.
I'm sorry.
new business item 1, report from the Detroit Institute of Arts.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. So I am happy to present a year-end report for our activity for calendar year 2023. So in your packets, you'll find a narrative report that has all of the details on our work over the last calendar year. I have a very brief PowerPoint that I'm going to go through fairly efficiently today, that kind of just gives some highlights and a little bit of information about what we're doing this year. So, just wait a minute while we get the PowerPoint up online.
Yep.
And you also have it in your packets
Yeah.
too. So if you want to follow along.
Staple document, 8 or 9 pages.
Yep. If you want to follow along
Yeah,
this
that's
way,
it.
otherwise it is up on the screen. Screens, thank you. Here, Betty, this chair. Yep.
thank you.
Okay, so, next slide, please. So just wanted to share the news. I think we've talked about this a little bit already, that we were named the best museum in America again. This is our 2nd year earning this distinction. So this slide looks a lot like last year's when we were given this award. It is the USA Today Readers Poll, Reader's Choice. So we were very happy to have it again this year in 2024. We're going to have some new buttons printed up that I'll be able to share at our next meeting. But we really share this distinction with the whole community. If we didn't have, the engagement that we have from the community, people coming to the museum and really understanding how special this collection is that we all share, we wouldn't get this kind of acknowledgement. So I just want to make sure that I'm, talking about this in the context of the community, because this is a museum that we all benefit from, in particular because of the work that we do here and through the service agreement and with the incredible support that we get from the residents of Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Next slide. So this is a year-end review of our work from 2023. And just as a refresher, the work that we do through the service agreement is really organized into these four basic categories of free admission, the school program, senior program, and community partnership programs. This is the framework that we used in the first 10 years of the millage. And in our conversations and in our new service agreements, this continues to be the framework that we'll use to organize our work going forward. Next slide. So free admission. Free admission is pretty simple. You can come to the museum anytime, bring identification that identifies you as a Wayne County resident, and you're able to come into the museum for free. This is unlimited general admission, so you could come every day that we're open if you wanted to. But I always say this is really just sort of the key to unlocking everything that's happening in the museum. So if you look at the slide, there's some musical instruments set up in Rivera Court, a picture of our drop-in art making studio and family engagement there. Free admission gives you access to all of our public programs and events, drop-in art making, and special exhibitions, which I'll talk a little bit later about the two special exhibitions that are open right now that are free with general admission. We had a little bit over 158,000 Wayne County residents take advantage of their free general admission. Of course, we are building all of our numbers back up from COVID, but 158,000 is significant. We continue to try to, spread the word about service agreement benefits and free admission and look to increase that number every year. Next slide. So the school program, really one of these programs that has really built over the years. And I know in our new service agreement, we have some new milestones that we're looking to hit that will help us continue to build the school program. In 2023, we had over 21,000 Wayne County K through 12 students come to the museum. So our goal in calendar year 23 was 16,000 students. So we, very easily made that number and exceeded it, and looking forward to continuing to build that number. Our new milestone for this year and every year following of this agreement that we signed is the 3-year agreement is 25,000. So we are comfortable that we will be meeting that number. And then, of course, as long as there is continued interest, we will likely surpass that number. And then, of course, K through 12 free field trips. Also, the thing that really helps teachers make those field trips last beyond just that day in the museum is our teacher professional development events, where we have teachers in and really give them sample tours, help them understand all the resources that are available. We have exhibition resources and lesson plans that are online. We have our DA delivered kit programs that schools can request to take into the classroom and do activities there. And then, of course, in 24, this fall, we'll be launching an in-school engagement with a district in Wayne County as a pilot for that program. And I'm happy to take any questions as we go, but I'm just going to continue to say next slide until someone gives me the wave.
Just a quick correction, Julie. You said 25,000 students is the goal. It's 26.
Yes, 26,000. Thank you. Moving on to the senior program. So our goal in 2023 was to bring 60 groups into the museum, and we were certainly able to meet that. We also do engagement in the community. So we had 59 art talks that were provided to groups across Wayne County. The behind the scene art talks are done by our docents, and those can take place at a library, a community center, any community accessible location. Of course, we offer free transportation for any group of 25 or more, senior group that wants to come to the museum. And then we've also added in the last year our Melodies at the Museum program. So seniors can come for a docent-led or a self-guided museum visit, or they can come on one of our special Melodies at the Museum monthly programs. So this year, calendar year 2024, will be our first full year of that program. We piloted Melodies at the Museum at the end of 2023. So we expect that through these 3 opportunities, we will definitely meet the 60 visits, and I am certain that we'll exceed that number as well.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
if I may.
please.
In the packets, we're looking at the PowerPoint here, but the narrative is in our packets of this report. And on page 9 of that report is a list of the 60 senior groups that came down to the DIA. Just want to make sure people know that's there and can look at it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And we continue, of course, to promote this program. We're always building our list. So if there's a group that you think we should reach out to, please pass that information along. If you have a specific name, if you want to help make that connection, we're happy to do that because we want to continue to broaden our reach for this program. So your help is appreciated. Next slide. So a little bit about our community partnership programs. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Can you back up one? I think you had already advanced and I didn't see. Yeah. So then the last category of the service agreement is community partnership program. So I like to begin with Inside Out. This is really one of our premier programs. We are currently installing the 2024 roster of partners, and I'm happy to say this is our 15th year. So I mentioned it at an internal meeting the other day, and everyone was really surprised to hear that we were at 15 years already. And it is going strong. The communities, across all 3 counties continue to ask to be part of it. So we have an application that's going to go out on June 15th, and that will be for help us identify partners for 2025. So you can see on there the partners we had in 23, the ones we're installing right now for 24, and then pretty soon we'll be looking for our partners for 2025. So I'll keep you informed on all that and make sure that you get the same outreach materials that we're sending out to the communities and that we're promoting, so you can use those in your own networks as well.
Through the chair.
Yes, please.
Julie, also, could you ensure that you share that with the Wayne County Commission and city councils in every city, because I think they will have knowledge of folks who may really want to participate.
Yes, I would be happy to do that. We typically share with the commission. We do share with the city councils as well. The commission's a little more easier to wrangle, but we do have a list of municipalities and we send that out as well. And we're happy if there's anything like through the county executive's office, if you have any communication devices that, we could utilize for this, we'd love to hop on that too.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
According to this, the Secretary of State offices, do you have something in every Secretary of State?
Yeah, so those are long-term installations, much like what we have at the airport. So yes, we have images in the Secretary of State's office in all 3 counties. Now, those are long-term installations, so they're not rotating.
I don't remember seeing one out. I'll have to go where I was and look at it and then,
I'll pull my list and make sure that,
okay. I'll talk to you later on.
yeah, I'm pretty
Thank
sure
you.
we're in all of them, but if you feel like there's an opportunity, let me know for sure. Moving on to the next slide. A little bit about Partners in Public Art. This is a program that we have had in Wayne County. We have done two Partners in Public Art murals in the last few years. The one that you see in the picture here is in Wyandotte. And that was one that we did in 2023. We did another one on the Avenue of Fashion. And I know in our conversations about a new service agreement, there is an interest from this group for us to do three in Wayne County as part of our new commitment. So I think it's another agenda item, but we do have a process to roll that out more broadly in Wayne County as part of the new agreement, which I think we're going to talk about that under a separate agenda item. So this is an example of one that we did last year. We are working on identifying partners for this year. It's a little bit late in the year, as we completed the agreement. So we will be on firm footing for calendar year 2025. And I hope that I'll have some engagement to provide to you for 2024 at our next meeting.
This may be out of order, but I'd like to ask you while it's on my mind. When I was going to Ohio, I saw on billboards about the art museum. I might have mentioned this before. So is there anything on the freeways that would cover everybody that's zooming by day and night?
So, through our marketing department, we do some billboard advertising. I don't have it with me today, like which ones we're on. I know I see them. I can tell you anecdotally, I see them on I-75 kind of by the Costco there at like 12 Mile. I think there's one over on 94. And that rotates and the content of those rotate. I think the one on I-75 is an electronic one, so I'm pretty sure it's scrolling with a few other things. But, I can give you if you're interested in knowing what the marketing plan for outdoor advertising.
Because I've never seen one on I-94.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
all right. Just in this community partnership programs with Partners in Public Art, the murals and things like that, I stand firm on, I'm not a big fan of murals being painted on buildings in the city of Detroit. Well, not a lot of them anyway, because I think it turns into an issue of possible graffiti if it's not kept up and the program is not funded or something happens long-term. And that's why I'm that way. Do you have other programs in public art, what you guys call public art, other than murals? And if you do, could you elaborate on it, please?
So we're really focusing on the mural program now. We had experimented with work in the round over the last few years, but really, talking to people in these communities, the murals are the things that they seem to really want. So I know we're doing 2 in Macomb County this year. They put that in the service agreement. Oakland County is asking for 3 a year. They put that in their service agreement. And this board is requested 3 a year, and that is in the service agreement for Wayne County.
So 3 a year over a 10-year process, we're talking about 30 painted walls in the city of Detroit. And how many do we already?
So not necessarily the city of Detroit. So we
I'm sorry,
consider,
in Wayne County.
yeah, so we consider Detroit one city in Wayne County. So in your service agreement, the service agreement that this group signed goes through calendar year 2026. So the agreement is good through 2026.
Okay. So when you say again, my question was Partners in Public Art, you are speaking specifically about murals.
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
thank you.
Madam Chair. Chair?
Yes, please.
Yes. As a follow-up question, Julie, what are you doing to engage local artists in the municipalities that you're gonna put these murals up in for them to bid on the ability to do a mural, or how is your process to get local artists involved?
So I'm happy to, if it's the will of the group to just go to that agenda item now, I'm happy to get into that detail now and then continue with this. Is that,
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
may, in putting together the agenda, the DIA requested that it be a separate item, and that's why we put it on there to go more into these details. But there's absolutely nothing wrong for taking it up right now, since we're on the discussion, and then just we'll have taken care of that agenda item as a part of this report. So good with that.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
so just to support, this conversation in your folders, you have a page like this. Says Partners in Public Art, Wayne County. So we've been doing this program in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties for several years now. And like on this page, you see the two examples of Wayne County. We've really worked over the last few years to refine the process. So what I'm going to walk you through is kind of the process that we have that we have found to be successful. Certainly, when we first started this program, we tried a lot of different things and have really learned a lot of lessons and worked with different partners. And we feel like this is the process that we're going to be using in Macomb and Oakland. This is my recommendation for how we move forward in Wayne. But I'd love to get your feedback on it. So in the service agreement, the Wayne County Art Authority has asked for 3 of these mural projects a calendar year. Because we are already into 2024, we're going to do things a little bit differently this year because we'd like to bring as many online as we can this year. I'm not sure that we'll get 3 because we didn't have sort of the runway that we need to get 3 done. So what we're doing right now to get ready for 2025 is we have an application process. So communities can apply to be part of the program. The application opens June 1st and it closes September 1st. We'll be promoting this and putting the word out. The application includes a proposed location for the mural. And as you can see, the bullet point in here, the location is authorized by a vote of their city council or township board in the form of a resolution. The location is a publicly owned building. We have found that that's really the most efficient way to do these. We get community input, but really having the community take ownership over this and not working with like a third-party building owner has really streamlined the process. And that's why we would like to move forward with publicly owned buildings. I have a listing of the communities that are eligible to participate. And as Stephen pointed, or Member Grady pointed out to me, that it was a fewer. We typically try to make this opportunity available to communities who haven't had one yet, before we do a second one in a community. And certainly in Wayne County, there's plenty of communities that would be eligible for this. Your question, Member Grady, about engaging artists. So we have an artist interest form, and that's available right by the application on our website. We certainly know a lot of artists, and we have a studio group, and we have a public program manager in my department who is an artist herself and also engages with artists, but we do know there are probably artists that we don't know about. So this artist interest form is a way for any artist to make themselves known to the DIA to be considered for a mural project. Sometime the Wyandotte mural was really a great collaboration. That one we were able to work with a local artist. A local artist who, is able to do this type of work, but we certainly look for that community connection whenever it's possible. So that's the process that we would propose moving forward. It's based on a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error, some mistakes, of course. And then for 2024, for this year that we're in right now, we're looking through communities who've reached out to us, and we're looking to see if anyone is ready to do one this year. They would fill out an application. But really for this year, we would be looking for communities that are sort of further down the line, maybe ready for it, and then fully implement the application process for next year. And then on the backside is just a little general sort of timeline as to how these things happen. And then at the bottom, factors that impact the timeline. So we do have a general timeline for this, but every community kind of moves at their own rate and their own pace. Our goal is always to get these, 3 done in a calendar year, but certainly, there are things that affect that. So this is how we would be looking to move forward.
So you have 3 a year, so you try to put 1 in each county every year. Is that how that works?
No, so it would be 3 in Wayne, and then we have agreements with Oakland and Macomb.
3 and, so it's like 9 altogether?
So 2 in Macomb, 3 in Oakland, 3 in Wayne.
Through the chair?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. When you are doing your RFP for the artists, you had mentioned earlier that some artists maybe are not necessarily equipped to do this type of work. Do you lay out the requirements of what artists need to be able to do so that they can look at the RFP and say, oh yeah, I can do that. Maybe I need to partner with somebody to do this, or that's out of my, area. How do you help artists get closer to what the requirements are?
Yeah, so we do look at portfolios. We do need to see what work they have done. We have an artist right now who we're working with that it's a community in Macomb County that really wanted to work with a particular artist. The staff member who does this is an artist herself. She's a muralist. I'd be happy to bring some of her work. I think she does great work, but she doesn't do this work for us. Her capacity is as a public program manager. So we do have, some very experienced people we work with. If a community has a recommendation for someone, our public mural project manager can work with them. We would not likely work with someone who had never done a mural.
Just a quick
Yes.
question. Is it a one-time RFP and you guys find the muralist for all of the projects for the year? Or do you put it out per county? Or how does that work?
So it's really in collaboration with the community. So if, I'll just take an example, say it's Highland Park and they've identified the wall. We do a community survey and get information about what they want to see in that. Our community programs manager would typically present 2 or 3 artists for their consideration. They would look at the work and they would identify, who they feel like they like, the style, the look, that sort of thing. So it's really done in collaboration with the community. We do have an outline of what is expected of the artist. So, and that is the same across the board, like the payment's the same, whether you're doing a mural in Wayne County or you're doing a mural in Oakland County, it is standard. So the artist is able to see that and decide whether they're interested in pursuing that. And then it really becomes a conversation between our staff member, the artist in the community to help design something that the community embraces. And, we've worked, there are other groups that do these. We spent some time, Hubert Massey came and talked to my team. We were really interested in learning about his process and how the different organizations he works with does their work. We've talked to people in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia mural program is huge there. So we've talked to the people in Buffalo at the Albert Knox Gallery Museum. So we've developed our own, but it's also been informed by, you know, folks who've been doing this kind of work for a long time.
Through the chair?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. So you do the initial RFP. How do you handle 2, 3, 4 years down the road when, you know, the elements or whatever may have affected the mural? How do you keep the mural looking fresh?
So, you know, murals, I will just say, are temporary by nature.
Mhm.
Like these are temporary. And we ask the community to commit to keeping their mural up for 10 years. And that's what we ask. We ask them to keep it up for 10 years. You know, we've talked to a lot of different groups who've done mural projects and have done them for years and years and years. So that's really the recommendation. I mean, we want to make sure that we're doing the work with the community, that it's community informed, and that they're interested in, you know, keeping that maintained for 10 years. They can keep it maintained for beyond 10 years, but, you know, we'd like that agreement, you know, in general, that they're committing to keeping the project for 10 years.
And this is a new program, right? So you don't have really a gauge for what it takes to for maintenance of the murals for that 10-year period.
So we have worked with a lot of artists who've done murals. We started doing murals in 2017. I don't have an example of anything that was done in 2017 that has needed any remediation. I mean, it's the 10-year life of a mural is not, it wouldn't be maintenance heavy. It shouldn't be maintenance heavy. I mean, of course, there's always things that we can't predict, but
I have a question. For instance, Hubert's murals. Did he apply to, how did that work? Did he apply to the board to do it, or does he go to the city? I don't understand that part.
so I can't speak to exactly all of the
Just
the
in
work
general.
and the process that Hubert has gone through for his work.
You can just give me a general, how does that work? If an artist wants something in their, I mean, the city wants something and they don't have it, how would that work then?
So in the case of our program, you know, we will put the application up, make sure people, you know, understood what the opportunity was. There's a lot of documentation that goes along with it. And then we work to identify artists that we think are going to work well for that community. And then the community ultimately, you know, kind of reviews the suggestions. And we've been doing this work since 2017, not broadly in Wayne County, but we've been doing it more broadly in Macomb and Oakland County. So we have, you know, background and experience in this. So the you know, outline that I bring to you today is informed by the work that we've done across all 3 counties, and then also just consulting with other organizations who are doing this kind of work and have been doing it longer than we have. Certainly can learn a lot from them.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
Yes. Could you provide us with a list of the locations of the murals that you've done thus far? So as we're out, we can just, you know, roll by,
So
take a
there's
look.
these 2,
Mhm.
and then I can give you the list of the ones that are in Macomb and Oakland County.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm getting close to the end of community partnership programs. I think there's one more slide on this section. So we talked about Inside Out, we talked about Partners in Public Art, both being some of our larger community partnership programs. And then, of course, we have other community partnership programs. Coming up very soon, we'll be opening the 3rd annual Wayne County High School Student Art Exhibition. And you will all get an invitation to that opening. It is on June 21st at 10 a.m. at the museum. Our A Friend of Community Art Exhibition, Concert of Colors, and you can see these on your slide. Our Community Group Studio program, which reaches a lot of groups across Wayne County. Last year, we worked with the John Dingle VA Medical Center, Mariners Inn, Hannon House, Detroit Recovery Project. There's several more that are in your folder. That is a program through our studio. And that program culminates in a year-end exhibition that opens in December. And then, of course, we always encourage groups who'd like to come to the museum through rec centers and libraries, of course, senior centers. I know Member Miller has always brought a group from Belleville Area Council for the Arts. So we had groups like that came to the museum with free transportation, and we continue to build groups like that to come in the current year. So that is really kind of the overview of the work that we did in compliance with the service agreement for 2023. And of course, there's a lot more detail, all the names of the schools, every senior center that came in your long form narrative report. So the remainder of the presentation is just a little bit about public programs and some of our current exhibitions. And I'm going to go through these rather quickly. We do celebrate Heritage Months. This month of May is Asian American Pacific Islanders Month. So a lot of our programming is really tuned around that culture. You see a picture here from one of our recent programs in Rivera Court. Next slide. The Detroit Film Theater, of course, the Detroit Film Theater celebrated its 50 years in 2023, which is kind of amazing that we've been showing art film as an art form for 50 years here in Detroit. And then there's always a full schedule of programming there in addition to some special things. So we've really gotten a lot of use out of the Detroit Film Theater this year because it's really been a great place for us to showcase some of the films that are highlighted in our Regeneration exhibition that is on view now till the end of June. Next slide. The DIA is a great place for free music. So our Friday Night Live program is usually every other Friday night. This is just, I don't know the specific name of this group, but this is a group that is going to be performing as part of Friday Night Live and in honor of the Heritage Month of Asian American Pacific Islanders for May.
What date,
Next.
excuse me, what date is that on?
I don't know. I can get you the full roster and dates. Really, there's so much going on at the museum. I tell people if you want to come, if you pick your day online, it'll come up with a drop down and show you everything special that's happening that night. I know we talked recently, one of our special programs we're offering right now is our Shakespeare in Detroit. So it is a Detroit-based Shakespeare company. They'll be performing this Friday night and next Friday night. And then I was just downstairs today and walked by the lecture hall. It was full of kids, buses all the way down Brush. We've been offering that performance for school groups as well. So they've been here, they were here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week for students, and the 2 Friday nights for regular museum going adults or anyone who likes Shakespeare.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we discussed, because in the service agreement, we bring student groups down, right? Bus them down. You gave us the big, long list. What other times that are not in the service agreement, because you just mentioned one, are school groups coming? how many other opportunities are there for school groups to come down outside of the service agreement?
Well, I mean, school groups can come anytime. So during the school year, the K through 12 program is primarily touring kids in the
Yeah, yeah.
museum.
But you're saying coming down to see the Shakespeare thing. So school groups are taking advantage of other opportunities to
Yes.
visit. And this would be one, the Shakespeare.
Yes.
I just want to see if there's a couple other examples about when yellow school buses show up and discourage kids into the museum aside from what we specify in the service agreement.
Yeah, so typically our students are coming during the school year, K through 12 groups, and they're, specific tours for them. There's also some tours that include studio time, so that would be sort of an additional enhancement to your school visit. And then things like Shakespeare in Detroit. I don't know what we have planned for next year, but we do occasionally bring a group in and do public performances. We've done Diary of Anne Frank because that's always been very much aligned with what the kids are studying in school. I can't remember what grade that is. I'm going to say 5th, but I could be. And then in the summertime, we continue to bring groups that meet that K-12 age group, but we pivot our offerings to make them more inclusive of a wider range. That's when we see community groups, that's when we see summer camps, and it might not be a whole group of 5th graders. It might be a group of kids that range in age from, 10 to 12 or 13. So we really change kind of our offering in the summer to accommodate those mixed age groups.
But those aren't considered part of the service agreement, correct?
Those are part of the school program. That's our service, they're K through 12. So yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So a little bit of information about exhibitions that are happening right now. I think I mentioned when we talked about free admission, our exhibitions that we have right now are free with general admission. So our Regeneration Black Cinema exhibition is up in our gallery's 2nd floor south. This is really great. We have, in addition to art, we have a lot of artifacts from Black cinema. It's 1898 to 1971. So we're really highlighting actors, performers, directors that may not have gotten their due during their time, or were working in circumstances that were less than ideal. We have Sidney Poitier's Oscar. So if you want to see a real Oscar, we have one at the museum, and some really fabulous posters. The image to your right is one of the posters, and there's a whole room full of these film posters, and they are really, really spectacular. And there's film embedded in throughout the exhibition. So this one is open till the end of June. So I encourage you to come down and see it before it's gone. That came to us from Los Angeles, from the Academy Awards Museum. And then recently we opened Tiff Massey. This show is focused on the work of Tiff Massey. She is a Detroiter from the 7 Mile and Livernois area. She is living and working and creating and community organizing in that community. And she is also showing her fabulous work at the museum. Her work is typically inspired by jewelry. So think about just like gigantic jewelry, like a necklace the size of this room. She works in metal, which I think is really cool, especially for a female artist. Takes a lot of strength and a lot of grit to work in that material. She is a Cranbrook trained artist, so I encourage you to come down and see her show. That will be up for a year. And I think it's going to be really inspirational to the young kids that'll be coming to the museum. I don't want to say too much about it because I think it's one of these things, like it just has to be experienced. I think Judith mentioned the other day, she described the work as monumental, and it is, like, it's just dwarfs you when you're in the gallery. So I encourage you to come. That exhibition, we're so fortunate we're going to have it for a whole year. So I know we're going to do a lot of really cool stuff with it. So come and see it. And then rounding out exhibitions with our student art exhibition. So right now we have our DPSCD Student Art Show. I always have to sit with this number for a minute. It is the 87th. So when we had our kickoff for that show, I just, just had to take a moment and think about like, for 87 years, someone has been standing up there introducing that show and highlighting the work of young people in DPSCD. So it's a lovely little show. And that one, on the tail of that will be the 3rd annual Wayne County High School art show. So that is the youngster in the room. So both of these exhibitions are wonderful, and it is, very inspiring to see what these young kids are not only creating, but, by what they're creating, it's telling you a little bit about what they're thinking too. So I like that too. So.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
Yes, I am very excited, Julie, to potentially host some art from some of our children that are in the juvenile detention facility. I just feel like there are some artists in there who haven't been discovered, maybe don't even know that they have this art inside of them. So please keep an eye out as you're working with them for some art that might be discovered there, because I feel like that would be a tremendous success story, not only for the Arts Authority and the DIA, but for the county itself and for the children that are in the JDF.
Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. We'll be sure and make sure that in our engagement with the folks at the charter school at the JDF, they're aware of this opportunity along with other opportunities. And then the last one that we have up here, our Friendas exhibition. This doesn't come until October, but our application for people to submit proposals to be part of this, that is live right now. That application, I believe, closes May 24th. So if you know anyone who you think might be interested in having an idea, we select about 13 or 14 of these, and then the artists are given a stipend and they create that work, and it's on view in the galleries. Primarily during October, a little bit in September, a little bit cheat into November. Super popular with our students, very popular with our seniors. So we try to keep that up as long as we can. And that concludes the presentation. So we did an overview of 23. We walked through the Partners in Public Art policy. Well, policy sounds kind of strong. Partners in Public Art sort of framework of how we want to approach that work. Special exhibitions and a little bit of on our public programming. So I'm happy to take any questions.
I think it was a fantastic report.
Thank you.
Any other comments? You know what? I'd like to make one here. Sammy Davis used to spend a lot of time in Detroit. So can you figure out somehow to feature him sometime? I mean, you don't have to answer now, but I'm just bringing it up so I won't forget it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned that. We had a long conversation about tap dancing, because of course, Sammy Davis Jr. was like a prolific tap dancer. And as part of some of the programming around our regeneration exhibition, we looked at, seeing if we could add that into some of our public programs. It appears to be a little bit of a lost art. But yeah, definitely, it's nice to be able to honor, some of the Detroiters who grew up here and went on to do other things,
I
but
think that'd be wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are we finished with that section?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're on to number 3, approval of an amendment to the service agreement and the Detroit Institute of Arts. Who is the lead on that?
So I think that would be, we're talking about the amendment. So I know this group signed a service agreement with the DIA.
Through the chair?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I think to be proper, since we have the amendment, I think we need to move to approve the amendment and then have discussion.
Fine with me.
So-
Excuse me, can you pull your mic closer to you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Into the
Yeah.
It's not even on. I don't
Yeah.
think I've even on yet.
These mics, you gotta be
Yeah.
within a couple inches of them.
So
Please proceed.
you, may I,
Yeah,
Chair?
please.
Thank you. Board Member, Grady Muhammad, you indicated move to approve the amendment, or are you seeking to approve discussion on the amendment? Because, you know, if you're going to, I believe we have a signed or agreed upon signed service agreement, but the amendment itself, I think is going to be voted on by you right now. And I think that was the urgency of us getting together and convening so quickly. So the way you said it, it seemed as if you were moving to just approve it so that it could be signed. But then or are you moving to approve it and then asking for questions before the vote?
That's what I was saying, that we would move to approve it. It would be seconded, and then we could have discussion, and that's when any thoughts that we might have about it could come out.
Okay.
But
Your
if
counsel's
you-
not going to say anything further. You were right. So I will power down.
But I would like to say, though, if you have some comments to set up the motion to approve the amendment, I would be definitely more than open to hearing your comments.
Well, I've had an opportunity to review the document. I mean, it's legally, it's a legally valid document. I think it as long as and it expresses what the board wants. I mean, I think it's, I don't have any comments at this point, but I'm available for comment or, you know, input as needed. So and my question was, my offering that information was a little premature.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, Madam Chair, I move to approve our amendment.
Do we have a second?
Support.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Discussion?
Oh, no.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, what Member Grady Muhammad is talking about, you know, Robert's Rules of Order, standard practice for boards, right? The way you have a discussion is you can do it one of two ways. You can move it for discussion, you can move it for approval, but either way, once there's an emotion on the floor that's been seconded by the board, you don't go directly to a vote. Okay, it's on the floor now. The motion is to approve. And then people have their comments and discussion one way or another.
Okay,
But you have to have that discussion. You don't go immediately to a vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you. So,
Madam Chair,
please.
discussion?
yes,
Thank you. I'm supportive of the amendment. I do have one concern about the funding process and the duration of the funding process. I know, and Julie, you and I had a discussion. I know that at the end of every year, we receive a audit of the performance of those funds. But I would like some form of review periodically, like a report or something like that. It doesn't have to be an audit, but a report of how things went, or some type of mechanism so that our oversight capability, we're able to deploy that. And that's all I see on that, Madam Chair.
so,
May I
yes, please.
respond to that?
So thank you for your question or your comment and recommendation. If you go to your service agreement, which I believe is in your meeting packets, and I don't have one here, otherwise I would direct you to the page.
Mhm.
But there is a section near the end called, I believe it's additional protocols.
Mhm.
And that outlines a meeting schedule and the content of each meeting. If you look at, and I'm just working from memory, I don't know if anyone has a copy they could share with me. It might help me a little bit to be able to see. Tim, do you have a copy of the?
I didn't.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't.
You did it.
Not of the amendment. Of the.
Oh, the agreement.
Oh, here. I think
Yeah.
You have one?
So I'll just describe what it is.
Sure.
And then you guys can fact check me. I think I have it from memory. So in additional protocols, it outlines, Yeah, in additional protocols, it outlines a series of meetings and the content for each of those meetings. And there is a half-year meeting. So at the end of the year, you get the audit. At the half-year meeting, there is a kind of a report out on where we are, progress to goals at the half year. So it's not just at the year end, at the half year, you get an interim report. Just do that once a year, but we do kind of give you an idea of how we're tracking to progress. So that's where these additional procedures come into play. It just really outlines the meetings and all of the content. So, but that is the other meeting besides the audit, where we do talk about progress to goals and give you numbers.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you have any other comments on this?
If you want to see it.
Are you okay on it? You have the. So how do we proceed now? Who is going to make that?
Can I make a motion to end discussion?
You can just go directly to a vote if there's no
Okay.
fewer the votes.
Okay, so we have to state what we're voting on, though.
Yes, ma'am. I made a motion to approve the amendment to the service agreement.
Okay,
And since there's no more discussion, then we vote on the motion as it was put on the floor.
okay. So
So we have a motion by Mr. Grady Muhammad and the second by Mr. Colleen.
did you have something to say?
Let's take the vote.
We'll take a vote. All those, you want to,
All in favor of the amendment?
all those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No one is opposed? Motion carried.
We're now moving to item number 4, discussion of the parking reimbursement policy.
I can't find it on here.
Mhm.
Please, go ahead.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to recommend that we ask our authority council to take a look at the parking reimbursement policy and create a process for us, a streamlined process that's easy enough for us to follow. So that when we park for the minimum 4 meetings that we have every year, and then any additional meetings, so maybe there's a way for us to provide the parking stub that we get from the lot to our treasurer. The treasurer can submit it to the Wayne County treasurer, or if there is a entity in the commission that provides financial information to the treasurer so that there can be some form of reimbursement. And then maybe there could be a cap that's put on parking for $100 per year or something like that. That would give you 5 $20 parking privileges.
Can I make a?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Your microphone, please.
Yep, I got it.
There we go.
There you
Thank you.
May I, Chair?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
thank you. Board Member Grady Muhammad, if I may make a suggestion, and I've had an opportunity in the couple of meetings that I've had the pleasure of attending. It seems as though the board is going to move ultimately to approve some form of reimbursement for parking. If we could, and perhaps a motion could be made, because I know that we had a session and it last week, earlier this week, but I think that in order to preserve, just for example, if you paid for your parking today, if you had a motion today, you could have that parking reimbursed sometimes later when we create a process. Might you want to, I would suggest that a motion be made to approve parking with a certain limit that you could configure right now and make that motion, and then the process could be done at the next meeting, but everyone who paid for parking today could be reimbursed at least for today and going forward. So all of the, I know the chair and a lot of board members have expressed having to park blocks away sometimes because of the expense of parking. And it's, I think in giving your service to the board, the board should, that's, I think, something that should just be not taken for granted. So that would be my suggestion, is configuring a motion that parking be approved with a certain, I agree, it should be a certain, and being austere with your finances, be a certain amount, perhaps 100, considering that you have four meetings a year, $100 would be sufficient, I think. And that's in my humble opinion, but make a motion and see if the board would pass that. And at least the next meeting, I would have some process by which the board members could be reimbursed for their parking, and you could vote on that at the next meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I believe it was at the January meeting this year that the board voted to reimburse parking. What's missed, so that motion is there.
Okay,
What we don't have is the mechanism for reimbursement,
Okay.
which gets a little complicated.
correct.
So, so the board has already expressed, and of
Okay.
course, you write the policy and, even if we don't pass something for a couple of months for mechanism, people can preserve their
Okay,
document. We can include, for all of 24, however we want to write it. That people can get reimbursed for, earlier too. So,
okay.
but the board's already expressed they want to be reimbursed. Parking.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
Vice Chair. So it's your belief, or is it that the motion's already been passed? Or has
Reimburse,
to
yes.
reimburse?
The
Okay, so,
mechanism has been the problematic part of this.
okay, so for that purpose, all board members who submit as of even January will continue to be reimbursed once we have
Correct.
a mechanism in place.
Correct.
Okay, so again, I'm withdrawing what I said earlier, and will using the economy of words next time.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
if we could request our authority council to help us by creating a process to accomplish what we have already approved, that parking will be reimbursed, that would be very helpful.
And just one other thing, Madam Chair.
Yes. please.
I would like to work with finance, because that's who's going to ultimately reimburse. I'll probably talk to Vice Chair because I'm sure he's submitted payment requests for his office, and it might be the same process, since it's the same, it would come through the treasurer, I assume. Okay, right. Okay.
I have a question. For all the time that people have been coming down here and parking and paying for it, is that going to, and a lot of people don't have those receipts anymore. So how's that? Is it going to start at a date certain or going back? How is this going to work?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
what I would have in the process is that sort of a grandfathering of sorts, that the first, I guess we've had 3 meetings. Would this be the third? Probably third meeting that we've had, fourth meeting, I think, but third official meeting that we've had this year. I can configure something that would allow for these first 3 meetings pursuant to that process, that you can vote on $15, $20 that for each meeting, and set that aside, and then going forward with that.
Okay. It sounds good as
Be-
long as there's a,
Because we didn't put an amount per year in there yet, as far as voting to approve. So we might make it $120, since it seems like we might have more than 4 meetings this year. Yeah.
Madam Chair, on that,
yes.
when we're developing this, I don't think we have to have a dollar amount. What we're doing is we're reimbursing for parking, right? And it can be expensive downtown. So if you have whatever under the policy. If some place is like $30, we're just gonna reimburse. I don't think we put a cap on it. Right? Because it's just gonna be your receipts for parking on the day of the authority meetings. It's clear. And I don't believe we have to have a cap as you're looking at the policy.
So is that where we are? Because people have asked me and I don't know. So what is the policy then?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
What maybe we should move this because now we're gonna run the meter with our council. Maybe we should move as a board that we assign to authority council drafting the mechanism for reimbursement for parking. We've already expressed our desire to be reimbursed for parking in a motion in January. And now that we're gonna put council to work on this, we should have a motion that this is the desire of the board that council for the Art Authority develop the mechanism for how we're gonna reimburse that. That's what we need to have in answer to your question. So I would move that this board direct authority council to develop the mechanism by which we're gonna get parking paid for board members.
I second that, Madam Chair.
Moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Or
We're moving to,
public comments?
we're moving to item G, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the board.
Such other matters?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would just like to remind members, our next meeting is August 12th on a Monday. We're back to 10 in the morning and we're getting back on the regular schedule that we approved last December. And at that meeting, we will be looking at the resolution that we send to all treasurers in the county so that the millage goes on their winter tax bills. That'll be one of the main items on that agenda. But I just want to remind members, Monday, August 12th. It's on the website. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Or any other such other matters? Any such other matters? Then we're going to move on to public comment. Any public comment? Did I hear someone say something? Oh. Is she looking? She's got a public comment.
Just something minor, less than 3 minutes. Thank you, Madam Chair and board members. I'm Diane Washington. I got a question. Art is my passion. I have a question. This is the millages for 3 counties. Is that correct?
Hold the mic down.
If that being said, are the children that are K through 12 in each one of these counties included in the transportation to the DIA? I don't know. I'm just asking the question because we do have different districts with children in Canton and Livonia would like to come down. I don't know if transportation is affordable. The other question is, have we reached out to deans of colleges? Because I'm an instructor in a local college at night. And I do bring students to the DIA. But I would like other colleges, there are 10 in the 3 counties, that could attend if they got more information. I did understand that you do have Shakespeare coming to the theater, and that's part of my heart. I do teach that. I studied the life of Shakespeare in English, but it was nice to bring to the DIA. I'm glad to hear that you are going to be doing that because Shakespeare brings about critical thinking. So those are the 3 things that I was concerned about. Deans being contacted from different colleges and K through 12 in all 3 counties being included within the DIA. Again, I don't know about transportation for that distance because my boss is in city of Wayne, and it's 33 miles away. So if we could reach out to some of these people and let them know some of the activities that are going on, the brochures or whatever, that's the events that are happening at the DIA. If we could reach out to both the deans and the children in the tri-county that's included in the millage. That's about all I had to say. It was nice talking to all of you.
Well, yes, thank you for your comments. Do you have an answer for that? I thought you were gonna say.
You know, Madam Chair, no, I don't. I do, but you know, I stick with how public meetings by public boards are done.
Mhm.
And that is public comment is public comment. It's not a time for a discussion.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Mhm.
But we have the people in the room. We'll talk to her before we leave and give her that understanding of what is and what is not possible. And so she will get an answer, but public comment is exactly that. You make your comment.
Any other public comments?
No, there aren't any participants online wishing to speak at the moment, and there were no emails received. And I just want to say to the public, on behalf of the board, thank you for your patience with the extended delayed time in the meeting.
All right, so you beat me to the punch. That's okay, Octavia. You're the boss anyway. But yeah, I think I just want to underscore that, right? It took a minute for the board to gather, and so anybody that has been zooming in and had to wait, our apologies. It is a special meeting. It kind of went this way. August 12th, Monday at 10 a.m. on our regular schedule. Much more reliable in terms of start on time, and please join us again in August. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I have a comment. I just want to thank the DIA for the beautiful job that they've been doing. And we are very grateful that the DIA that has been named the special, the best, you give me the language on the best.
Best museum in the United States.
And you know what? We should all be grateful for that. And I thank you every day, every night that we have such a wonderful DIA, Detroit Institute of Arts.
Well,
And we have
thank
a-
you.
and we have-
It's our pleasure to serve.
And I think that we should let the world know that we're the best. You are the best. But any other comments?
Madam Chair?
There,
I just want to thank our Authority Council and his team for joining us. I feel so much more confident in the actions that we're taking and the decisions that we're making by having their participation and involvement. I appreciate you both.
And I also appreciate you. Thank you so much. Any other discussions? Any other business?
we're on item H adjournment.
Yes.
Item I adjournment.
Adjourn. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.